Where are you davening tonight?
I'm davening Mincha and YFR, and then I'm speaking in Frishtig Minyan.
Where?
Badner.
What's Frishtig? Where is that?
What?
Where is that?
Where is it? In Tag High School, I think.
I mean, I know it's not there.
Then you davening in my day, or you going back to YFR?
I mean, at this
Oh,
point,
going
you
back to
hope.
what?
At this point, you hope.
Are you setting the oven?
I will. What?
You hope,
Later.
because that's
I
where you're
hope.
going, right?
Hey, well, it's somewhere in Tag. So if it's not there,
Okay.
it's around the corner. That's what I'm betting. If I don't see anybody, I'll go around the corner. If not, then I'm out. Yeah. Okay. So we're up to the Mishnah, yeah?
Announce what time is Shir starting tonight? I think we should announce it when it's coming.
12 o'clock, right? We said 12 o'clock.
I don't know. I'm asking. Okay.
Yeah.
You originally called it for 11:45.
Did? No, they called it 12:15.
I don't know what you did on the note or on the paper. When you originally said shear starts 11:45.
Whatever.
Doesn't make a difference. It starts when it starts.
Yeah. Okay, whatever it is. Up the Mishnah, yeah? Yeah, that Mishnah. Right? Maybe get Medina Sayyam. Read this a repeat. If somebody brings a get from Medina Sayyam, and they're not able to say it, right? They brought a get and they were mute. If there are Eidim, you skayim b'chasama, then you mekayim it with the Eidim signatures. Right? That's
I think you're muted, Siako.
Yeah, Jacob, you muted yourself by mistake, or someone muted you.
Or he can't hear us.
Rabbi, can't hear you.
cool.
We stopped hearing you.
I think your sound just back on. You were down for the last minute.
Serious?
Yeah.
Just start over again.
Oh, I finished the daf, guys. I finished. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Zok the Mishnah again. Yeah, is that where I went out? See that? It's for the Zmanim, it works, and then for the Torah, it shuts off. Yeah. Okay, I'm still good.
What's Zmanim? What do we change about this Zmanim? Anything?
Nothing. No, just the hack. Okay, so I maybe get Medina Sayyam. If a get is brought from Medina Sayyam and they're not able to say which we see in the Gemara, why? Which became mute. If there's Eidim, then we mekayim with the chasama. Right? And meaning the point is that she can't get married until you're mekayim it. Echad gitei nashim, echad shechruri avadim, shavu l'maylach l'maybe gitei nashim shechruri avadim are equal for a maylach l'maybe. Zu achas min hadrachim sheshavu gitei nashim shechruri avadim. This is one of the ways that gitei nashim are equal to shechruri avadim, meaning they're basically the same requirements for a get for an isha is the same as a get for an evet to free him. So the Gemara asks, what does it mean he can't say b'fan another? If you're saying that it's a mute person or deaf mute, cheresh parasuya gitu, can a cheresh even bring a get? Everybody's kosher to bring a get except for a cheresh shayt of a katan. So it can't be that he was a cheresh. Someone of Yosef, a very unique case. They gave it to her. They gave her the get. He gave her the get when he was a pikeach, when he was healthy, normal. And he wasn't able to say until then he lost his voice. Right? So mamish in middle of giving the get, he lost his voice. So in that situation, you cannot. We say that the fananechtam is not applicable. Now, and if he mouthed it, you tell me mouthing it is no good.
Mouthing where no sound, not even a whisper, nothing comes out.
Yeah.
You mean is she supposed to be able to read his lips? If she could have to be able to read his lips, then he doesn't have to mouth it at all. He can just. He doesn't have to say it. He would only have to go like that. You can read his lips.
No, but I'm saying
Mouthing is different. Mouthing is different than writing it. Mouthing is different than writing it.
You're muted, and do we? What? What do you? No, I'm saying bishlam davening. So this happens. People have a throat surgery. Right? So they can't daven. So how are they makayim mitzvahs kriya shema? Could be they're not makayim because it needs to reach your ears. Right? We learned in the Kitzur share a couple weeks ago. Right? It needs to, I think we did. It needs to reach your ears. Right? But this is edus. Edus has to be verbal. Let's say he writes it. I'm saying from this Gemara's mashma that it has to be verbal.
I don't know. I asked this last week, and I was told that it was that writing is not good.
We discussed it here in the daf.
No, I
Or
think I asked Shmuel Grossman in the morning. Whatever
And
it was
what did he
last
say?
week,
What did he
I
say?
think it was writing is not good. That it has to be said. Edus is not writing. It's being said.
Okay, great. So that means I could text during Chazaras Hashatz.
I mean, a lot of other people do, so maybe you could also.
Maybe. Yeah.
I gave me a kasha from a week ago.
No, I'm not saying. I'm not answering what the halacha is. I don't know. But correct. If your voice goes, so why can't you just write it? If the guy's still sane, why can't he write it down?
No, but I'm saying good. So let's say you want to say ksiva is not the right thing, but mouthing it, if we see them mouthing it.
What is that? But what is that in halacha? Just mouthing it without anything coming out? Is that something?
That's what I'm saying. Why not? But here, it's just you have to know that they saw the thing. Oh.
But who has to hear? Who has to hear it when he says it?
Imagine Bezdin.
So Bezdin has to be by the girl, by the wife before when he gives it to her.
What? I mean, you're saying the wife hears. You need somebody who's dealing with this has to hear it. Just the wife saying it. She's not. She's not believing.
We had that Gemara. Bifnei Shnayim or Bifnei Shlosha. Yes.
Right. Well, that's stam every good. Okay, whatever it is.
You'd have
Okay.
the same thing if he's a mute, he couldn't do it lechatchila. But the fact is, people are deaf now and talk with their hands, and you have international sign language and stuff. They speak perfectly good with their hands.
Right. So I wonder. That's a good question too. All right. Okay. Right. Echad gitei nashim, echad shechur avadim. So we said gitei nashim and shechur avadim, they're the same. So Tanaban b'shleisha drachim shavu gitei nashim and shechur avadim. There's three ways that gitei nashim are the same as shechur avadim. Shavu l'maylech u'lemevi, for bringing it from Eretz Yisrael and to Eretz Yisrael that you have to say in front of another. The whole get sheyesh of 8 kusi puzzle, and any get that has an 8 kusi is puzzle. Except for Gitei Nashim Shekuri Avadim, meaning you hear it saying a get can have a kusi sign on it, right? Well, we're going to see that now. Well, this sheet is saying, it's. I'm sorry. I got jumped ahead from the next sugi. A get here we're talking about get doesn't mean Rashi says kol shtar. Right? We said in the beginning of the sef, the get does not necessarily mean for a woman. It means for both. So the chol get sheyesh of 8 kusi pasal chutz mi gitei nashim v'shechuri avadim, except for gitei nashim and shechuri avadim. The chol ashtaras, that's number 2, and the third is any shtaras or all shtaras on the base now ha'olim bar koyesh shel oivdei kechavim that go into the courts of goyim afapi she chesmeim oivdei kechavim, even though they're signed by goyim ksherin they're kosher chutz mi gitei nashim shechuri avadim except for Gitei Nashim Shekuri Avadim. Right? So meaning what's wrong with meaning regular star doesn't work with a guy, but Gittin do work with a guy.
If
Right?
the stock works,
sorry,
what's the
sorry,
problem going to
the
That's why I
psak
said the
works,
opposite. What?
if the psak works, what's wrong with going to a Goyish court?
Oh, so it doesn't, right. So it doesn't mean going to court. It means that the get originated from a Goyish court.
Not to get. It says every other star is good with
The
Goyish
the
court.
shtaras are okay.
So
yeah.
what's wrong with going to a Goyish court then? If the
so
stars are good.
So the shtaras are good l'chayra from a Goyish court, but that doesn't mean that you're having a star. A Goyish court, I think what it means is when you're having a fight with somebody, so you got to try and fight it out according to the halacha, not in the courts. It's just I lent you money and we wanted to make a star, so we made it in a Goyish court. Well, I'm not sure about that though.
Okay.
No, but you're touching on a big thing, because what's the pshat? Why should a star coming out of a Goyish court be good? Right. So Rashi says, in the second line down in Rashi said the dina the machusa dina. Even though they're both Yidden, Dina the Machus
or they're both brothers, either one.
Yeah, right. If or former brothers, but it's Dina the Machus Dina, meaning Pshat is that we are Goyish laws, because, and we'll see weiter later on the daf, is that because Goyim have dinim. One of the Sheva mitzvahs b'nei Noach is that Goyim have to have dinim, but Gittin, and Shechruri Avodim, that they don't have.
You know, because we say they don't have kedushin, so how could they have Gittin?
Right, that's what I'm saying. They don't have. I mean, they have arayas. They have arayas.
They have arayas, but they don't have the.
They don't have, right. Right now, so it's also mashu from the Rashi that l'chayra, if Dina the Machuz is Dina, then Yutaka could be Samech on a Goyish aid.
You have a second for a quick story?
Yeah, go ahead.
There was a guy and a woman that got divorced. He gave her the get, and the girl wanted to get remarried, but they never got a civil divorce. So they came to Rabbi Kellemer. I don't think this is a public, so I don't repeat in my name, but they came to Rabbi Kellemer to be Masada Kedushin at their wedding, at the second wedding, and he did it in a tznius way, not to offend them, and said that he wasn't able to be Masada Kedushin, and it's because Dina de Machuz Dina. Until they get a civil divorce, he wouldn't be Masada Kedushin at their next wedding.
Yeah.
They found another rabbi to marry them, though.
That's interesting.
Happy ending.
It's a lot of Masada Kedushins won't be Masada Kedushin if you don't have a civil marriage either. Right? Anyways, okay.
Jacob, on that note, not to make me get legally married.
Oh yeah?
Here's my Masada Kedushin.
I hear. Interesting. Okay, very good.
Moshe Stern was the Masada Kedushin on the first 75 Sheyoshev Chassidus.
He was the chaplain?
He signed Reb Shlomo's name to all the marriage licenses.
Oh yeah.
And there was somebody else later on also who signed it on mine. That's what happened though, down the way. So, yeah, whatever. At least we're legally married.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, so weiter. So those are the three things that the Gittin and Nashim and Shechruri Avodim are the same. Rameir ba'arba. Rameir says 4 ways, right? Ha'omer, which is what? Ha'omer 10 gets el ishti, ushtar shechur zel avdi. If a guy tells shliach, bring this get to my wife, or bring this shtar shechur to my eved, ratza lachsa b'shneim yasef. He wants to be chayzer on both of them. He's chayzer. Div Rameir. That's what Rameir holds. So you see that there's an additional similarity between Gittin Nashim and Shechruri Avodim. So Bisham l'Rabbanon Minyan l'Mu'utei Hadu Rameir. Why are you saying this 3 and 4? We could count, right? Especially Rachamim, who analyzes the mnemonics from the Gemara, right? So he doesn't need anybody to tell him how to count, right? So they're saying there's 3 because don't think that it's 4 like Rameir, because for them the 4th doesn't apply. So that's what they say 3. Why do we have to say 4 according to Rameir? What's that telling us? Right? So Lamute says, no, there is another case that it's being Mamaya. Lamute, Hadatanya Adam Shane Yoidim Lachsam. If you have Adam who don't know how to sign, right? They can't sign their name. Makarlem Niyar Chalak. You rip smooth, basically you rip, but it means you indent. There's a better word than that, into the parchment. Right? Basically what we do, I don't know, not exactly, but when people want to write a letter in a Sefer Torah, that's not exactly that, but you take smooth paper and you scratch it out, and then they fill it up with yoy. They'll only do that by Gittin Nashim. But by Shechrui Avadim and all other stars, if they know how to read it and sign on it, then they could. If not, they don't sign. Right? So meaning, so by get, we'll do this, obviously, because we want to make sure that the woman gets herself divorced. All other stars, if the guy can't sign his name, we don't do this shtick of paint by number to what do you call it, your name, to sign your name. Yeah? So when it says Kriya or Man Dochashme, who said anything about reading it? Who says they have to be able to read it? They're testifying as to what went on here. Why do you have to read the start? So Gemara says, there's something missing. It's Adam that don't know how to read. What we do is we read the star in front of them and they sign it. If they don't know how to sign, then we do the scratching out for them. Yeah, okay, so that's a case that is that a get from an isha and a shikhr and a what do you call it? Shikhr is not applicable. Okay, the suleka, there's no other cases where get of an isha and a get for an eved are equal. The guy says, give this get to my wife, the shtar shikhr is ala avdi, and the shtar shikhr to my eved, umeis, and then he dies. Lo yitnu la'achar misa. They shouldn't give it after misa, meaning once the guy dies, then don't give it to her. Why? Because they're already we're not divorced, whatever. They're no longer married. So what's the point of giving?
But the Evid is still meshubit to the person, and the wife is meshubit to.
No, but the Evid goes to the Evid is property, so the Evid goes to the Yarshim. The Evid goes to the Yarshim, right? So therefore it's not negay anymore. But Tnu Mana LePliny umeis. But if a guy says give 100 to Pliny and he should die, then if not, and then he dies. I'm sorry. Yitnu la'achar misa. He should give. Then you do give it to him after misa. Right now, this is talking about a shchiv meira, right? Somebody who's dying. So there's a special din by shchiv meira. Then whatever he says whatever he says goes. So even though normally you have to make a kinyan on money, but in order to give the shchiv meira yishuv adas, if he says that a guy should have money, it's automatic, right? So that's why if he dies, then you give it to him. So the Gemara answers. So you see, whatever it is, you see that there's a case where get of an isha and shtar shikhr are equal. So the Gemara answers, kikatani milsa the lesser b'shtaris. We're talking about things that are not in shtaris. Milsa the isa b'shtaris like katani. We're not talking about things that have to do with shtaris, right? We're talking about similarities between a shtar, obviously a get of an isha and a get of a shtar and a get of an eved, but not anything that has to do with stars. What does this mean? The shalach rabbin mishmei rava.
A get is not a star.
It is. But let's see the next gemara, right? Let's see the next. The shalach rabbin mishmei rava. Have a yoidin shalach Rebbe Eliezer l'gayla b'shum Rabbeinu. You should know that Rebbe Eliezer sent to the gayla name of Rabbeinu. Shchiv meira she'amar kislu tnu mana lePliny. If a shchiv meira said, write this and give a mana to Pliny, right? Yeah, and meaning he's dying, and he says, but here the difference between this case and the previous case. Previous case, he didn't say anything about writing. The previous case, he just said give. Here we're saying writing. Umeis, and he dies, ain't kaisvin b'noisvin. You don't write it, and you don't give it. Shema loy gomer la'knoise ela b'shtar, because maybe the shchiv meira only meant to give it with a shtar, ve'ain shtar la'achar misa, and there's no such thing as a shtar la'achar misa, right? So therefore, therefore this din does apply to all shtaras, right? When it's nageya to a shtar, even money should not be given after misa. Meaning, in the previous case, where the get and the get shikhr were written. Therefore, you don't give it to them after the husband after the wife dies, or after the baal dies. I'm sorry, not after the wife dies. After the husband dies, or the owners, whatever it is. But money you would give. But if there's money with a star, then you wouldn't give it. So then when a star with money is the same din as a star with a get and a star with an eved, then that's not counted. That's not counted. Now again, there's no nafkamina in all this. This is just, I don't know why the Gemara sometimes does this. Why the Gemara feels it needs to say, oh, there's no similar cases. There are other similar cases. Okay, so let's say there are other similar cases. So, okay, I don't know. Whatever, I'm saying there's not much difference in the halacha shabbat. So everyone says, what do you mean? There are more cases where it's the same. So So that's what we meant by Ma'alechu Mevi, because there you do need to say B'fanei Netam in order to make sure it's written L'Shma. Ela Rava Kash, according to Rava, that you say B'fanei Netam because you don't know if there are people traveling there. So what does that have to do with L'Shma? V'su Bein L'Rava He can mechuber. They both hold that you cannot write a get shikhr on something attached to the ground, and you can't write a get shikhr on something that's and you can't write a get isha, get nashim on something attached to the ground. That's another one. So my answer is kikatani. What are we talking about? Psula derabana. We're talking about psulim derabana. When we said that there's three ways that a get shikhr is similar to a get isha, that was talking about things that would make them problematic midirabana. Things that are problematic midaraisa were not counted. Daraisa loikatani. So it says, "V'arkois shalav dikachavim the psul daraisa ubekatani." Right, arkois of avdei kechavim is pasul daraisa, right? And we learned it. Right, we said arkois is a psul daraisa, meaning not because going to arkois is an issur daraisa. I don't know. Is going to arkois an issur daraisa?
Arkos is different than a regular court.
What?
What is Arkos?
Arkos is a goyish court.
It's a regular goyish court.
Regular goyish court with something that came out from there. Yeah. No, but the thing is, when it says here it's Issur Daraisa, the reason why it's an Issur Daraisa is because the Eidim are puzzle. So Memela, whatever comes out from there is puzzle midaraisa. It's as if it didn't exist. Not going to Arkos is puzzle. Right? So the Katani, but we learned it. I'm sorry, I jumped the case. Daraisa like Katani. Daraisa we didn't learn. So Gemara says, "V'harkoy shalav dikam t'psula deraisa." I'm sorry, I went back. V'harkoy shalav dikam t'psula deraisa v'katani. Harkoy shalav dikam is an deraisa that we talked about, that they're the same. So our answer is be'edim mesira. They're not. It's not also deraisa because we're talking about where the get was taka signed by goyim. But we hold that the main edus of the get is when it gets handed over to the woman. And therefore, it doesn't make much difference who signed on the get. Even though avada lechatchila, we want a yid to sign on the get, but even if the edim are puzzle, we'd still be machmed. Meaning we're machmed midrabbana that you need to have the edim. But midaraisa, edim mesira is what counts, and that we're going to have a yid watch it. And it goes like Rebbe Lazar, who says Eidem Mesira. Meaning that's the main thing. So Gemara asks, it can't be. The Katani say for Reb Shimon, Reb Shimon disagrees. And he says that even these are kosher, right? Meaning Gittin are kosher by Goyim. Why would Reb Shimon trust Goyim as the signatures? Elamai, because he holds like Rebbe Eliezer. The Amar, the Rebbe Lazar, the Amar Eidem Mesira Karti. So if Reb Shimon holds a Rebbe Lazar, Mechlal, the Tanakama Sovar Loi. So the Tanakama who says that Gittin from Arkois is no good, it must not be holding of Eidem Mesira, and it must be no good with the Raisa. So what answers, you give me now Shemus Move Hakim. Right? Very well-known names. Right? Meaning they both hold that Eidem Mesira is the right way to give a get. Meaning that's what counts. So therefore, Goyim should really be able to count. Right? But the difference between them, what are they arguing on? If it's a name that's muvak, meaning it's a name that's very clearly a guy's name. Right? Tanakama says that if it's very clearly a guy's name, right, meaning it's not a name that Yidden would go by, so then it's gonna be no good, right? But Reb Shimon holds that midrabanan it is good.
What name is there that you even don't go by? What?
Oh, we're gonna see that in a couple of blots.
Well, the Chashmonaim's Enoch were all named John Hyrcanus.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I guess there were certain tkufas, right? There were certain tkufas where I guess they had. I mean, the Gemara is going to say tomorrow. No, Shabbos is. We're already on tomorrow's daf. Shabbos is daf. It's going to say Lucas. Lucas was a name. Lucas, right? Okay, whatever it is, but it's Shemus Mefakim, meaning so. Therefore, what?
There's Rabbeinu Peter on yesterday's Tosfos.
Huh?
There's Rabbeinu Peter on yesterday's Tosfos.
Was there?
One of the Bali Tosfos.
Is that Peter? Because don't they say that he was one of them?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe interesting.
Second Tosfos on Chesam Aleph.
Mamish didn't notice.
First two words. Shal Rabbeinu Peter Rabbeinu Tam.
Very good. Very good.
Gershon, you got to be that guy to show off. You learned the Tosfos also.
I know. Yeah.
Fine, Gershon. Extra cheesecake for you tomorrow. Fine.
Anyway, so why would
LA Tyson's for 2,000, and he hit the daily double.
Why would Reb Shimon be materit midaraisa? Because if it's clearly a guy's name, nobody's going to use the aid for Eid and Masira, right? Nobody's going to use it. So that's why it's not. Reb Shimon holds it's not a problem, at least midaraisa. So what it says, chazara daraisa, vikatani chazara is daraisa, meaning that a guy could take back his get, meaning he gives the get to a shliach, and the shliach is going, and then he calls the shliach, says, "Take it back," right? So that's a daraisa, and that we said you could take it back up until it gets into the hand of the woman and the eved. So when it's ela nutaretz, kikatani milsa the lesser b'kedushin. The only things that we're talking about are things that don't have to do with kedushin, right? Milsa the isa b'kedushin like katani, but anything that has to do with kedushin that we didn't learn, right? Meaning because we compare kedushin to gittin, right? Meaning a shliach that has to bring a get, has to say v'fanei has nothing to do with marriage, right? And the same thing if it's signed by a kusi, it doesn't apply because for marriage it also for kedushin it would work, right? Okay, so that's what it's saying. So when it says well chazara gufa isa b'kedushin, what about chazara? Meaning meaning chazara. If the guy changes his mind, you could have that by kedushin. Right, a guy sends a shliach to marry off a woman. Then he calls him up and says, "By the way, take it back." Right, so he can. So there is in kedushin. So when answers b'shlichus bal karcha, we're talking about a shlichus that can be done bal karcha. The begerishin isa kedushin lessa. By gerishin, you could force a woman to take a get. Kedushin, you can't. We don't do that anymore. But me'ikar adin, you could force a woman to take a get. You cannot force a woman to get married to you. Yeah, fine. We go a little weiter. It's relatively easy, Ahmed. So fine. Zok the Mishnah. Kol get sheyeshel of 8 kusi puzzle. If a get has an 8 kusi on it, it is puzzle.
Is there a Shabbos shir?
Yeah, 6:45. Yeah. So kol get sheyeshel of 8 kusi puzzle. Any get that has an Eid kusi is possible. Chutz mi gittin nashim shechruri avadim, except for gittin of nashim and shechruri avadim, right? That even if one signs on it, it's no good. Ma'aser shaviu lefnei Rabbi Gamliel lekfar usnoi. They brought in front of Rabbi Gamliel lekfar usnoi get isha. They brought in front of him a get isha. Vayu eid of eidei kusim, and the eid of eidei kusim v'hichsher, and he said it was kosher. So 2 eidim. Rabbi Gamliel even matted 2 eidim of kusim. Again, we're not talking about goyim here. Kusim is a whole shiloh whether they're gerei emes or not. So we're saying here that it works. So Gemara asks, Mani mas nisim. Who's the Mishnah here? Loi Tanakama, Veloy Rebbe Lazar, Veloy Reb Shimon Gamliel. It can't be any of the 3. Why? The Tanya, matzahs kusi muteres. Can you eat a matzah made by a kusi? Matzahs need to be made lishma. So the matzah of a kusi is mutter. Va'adam yaitza v'yidei chavasa v'pesach, and a person is yaitza, his chiyav on Pesach with matzah. Rebbe Lazar Isa. Rebbe Lazar says you're not allowed to use a kusi's matzah. I see. I don't know if it should be mitzvahs, matzahs, right?
It's mitzvahs. It's mitzvahs.
It's mitzvahs.
What else?
They're not medayik in mitzvahs. And who says you have to be medaktik in mitzvahs to make a kosher matzah? Right? Shimon Gamliel Omer kol mitzvah shechziku b'kusim. Any mitzvah that the kusim are machzik themselves and harbe medaktikin ba yoiser mi Yisrael. Quite a controversial line right there. If kusim take on themselves a mitzvah, then they do it even better than a yid. Right? So now, who's the Tana in our Mishnah who says an 8 kusi is possible? Right? So money, Tanakama, filu shar shtaras nami. If it's a Tanakama, he's Tanakama is going to say that if it's a Tanakama, right? So he's going to say they're all okay, right? He holds matzahs; they're fine. Afilu shashtar is nami. Ira belazar. Afilu get isha nami la. Even get isha nami. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, and if it's Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, ida achsuk afilu shtar is nami. If they're machzik in there, if they keep shtaras, so then even other shtaras. Ida lo achsuk, and if they're not machzik, afilu get isha nami la. Even to get isha not. The chitem of Rabbi Shimon Gamliel here, and if you're going to say it's Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, the achsuk baha, v'lo achsuk baha, and it's talking about where he was machzik with this one. And he's not machzik in this one, meaning the kusim are makbid on gittin, but they're not makbid on regular shtaras. So then why are you saying 1? Afilu trei nami, even 2, it should be okay. Why does he only allow 1 8? So the bottom line is we don't know which one of these 3 Tanaim could be in the Mishnah who matters 1 8 kusi, and that's it. So the Gemara answers, Rabbi Lazar. It's really talking about Rabbi Lazar, who normally says you cannot be Saimach on Kusim. We're going to Chasam Yisrael L'Besayf. It's talking about where the Yid signed it under the Kusi, right? Meaning, so since the Yid signed it under the Kusi, so that means that he's seen that he must have had a valid get. Otherwise, why would the Yid sign on the get like that? Yeah. So on other base, the Ilav. The kusi chaver hava, if it was not a kusi who was a chaver, loy machsim lemekamei. Why would he wouldn't let the kusi sign before him, right? So therefore, in that situation, if the top guy is a kusi and the bottom line is Yisrael, must be the kusi was educated. See what I ask? If that's the case, then even other starters too. Meaning they say the same din should be. If that's the way it's signed, if the yid signs on the bottom, then it should be okay. What it is he just left space for somebody who's older than him. Meaning he signed on the star first, but he left space on the top in case the other aid was going to be somebody older than him. He left the space for somebody that's older. So therefore, that doesn't mean anything if the yid signs on the bottom of it. So I say, this is what it means to say, Eidei haget, ein chaismin zeh b'lo zeh. Eidei, what it's really telling you is Eidei get are not allowed to sign one without the other. Right? Meaning, we wanted to ask a kasha, maybe he just left the space for the older person in case an older person comes. Well, must be that can't be the situation. Why not? Because both have to sign at the same time. My timer. The gzera because of kulchem, meaning, let's say a guy says to 10 people, all of you guys write a get. Right? So one writes, and the rest all sign on it. And you need all of them. If you're missing even one, then the whole thing is no good. So therefore, how are we going to know? So therefore, you have to have them all do it at the same time. Right? So then Mamela, because of that situation of 10 people signing on a get or 9 people signing on a get, so therefore they need to be all together. So therefore, even 2 Eidim have to be together. Fine. Gufa Amar Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Elazar says they only allow 1 8 kusi. My Kamashmalon, what's it teaching us? Tina, we learned already. Call get sheish of 8 kusi puzzle. Any get that has on it an 8 kusi is puzzle. So our answer, you must need to have filu trey nami. If it would be from a Mishnah, you would think that even 2 is kosher. Because by regular starters, we wouldn't even trust 1. Kamash Malan. So Rabbi Elazar is telling us that a get that was signed by 2 kusim is puzzle. So what says betray loy, and 2 kusim can't sign on a get. But Katani Ma'aser get isha kusim behirshir, and he was masherit. Right? Samar Abaya. I don't understand the kasha. Isn't it just a machlokes tanoim? We bringing a kasha from one tana to another. So
No, but who holds both Eidim is going to be kosher?
well, Rebbe Elazar would hold not, and Rabbi Shimon Gamliel will hold yeah, and Rabbi Gamliel will hold yeah.
If
I don't know. Okay, so Amar Abaya tnu a doi, right? Learn it that it says a doi, right? Meaning it's a 1 witness, right? Instead of saying a doi, it's not plural; it's singular. Rabbi Amar. Rava Amar Lo'ilam Trey. It's really talking about 2. Ram Gamliel Miflik Pulling. I guess. I don't know. Is that? See, here it's saying that it disagrees, but that means. I mean, why couldn't it say that before? Why isn't that the default? Okay, I'm not sure. Get Isha sounds like if you just bring a Maisa, that doesn't mean he's chaylik. You have to actually have him say that he's chaylik. Okay, I'm not sure. Either way, we're almost caught up. So that's it. The Olam should have themselves good. I don't know what kind of yomtiv he's supposed to say. A milchidika yomtiv.
A Torah dika yontif.
A Torah dika yomtiv.
Nimi is the